Yeah,
All right,
I just keep
hello
it steady on
everybody.
the
Welcome
magic.
back to
Do
the
my thing, I'm
Uprooted
healing, it's
podcast.
fantastic.
Yeah, we're gonna just have
If I
some
fall,
good
rise
conversation
automatic.
about some good
You ain't
topics
on
with
that,
good
you
people.
know. I'm the one raise myself like a tree from the roots. West side girl, cause she lit in the coast. East side girl when she speaks to the roots. Stay 100 cause she on with the truth. Been there on struggle, know that it pass. Only going up, yeah, the pain don't last. Ooh, take off. Ooh, take off. Ooh, take off. This is take off, take off, take off. Shorty like Brandy, fight like Monica. What you know about her? Baby girl rising, wet at the top. Shaking the world, don't expect her to stop. Purpose so great, she get what she got. Follow her step, cause she following God. What you need more, got a heart full of gold. Even at times when it's raining and cold. Ooh, she bout take off. Ooh, she bout.
Yo, it's your girl Hannah, aka Ruta. Welcome back to the Uprooted podcast. Today is the first official installment of Black Women Wednesdays. And yes, I'm wearing my Black Women Matter shirts. I'm just waiting for a couple of you to get in here. And I see my beautiful guest is in the house, so let me go ahead and add her. What's up, Meron? So, sorry we're late. Um, how time is. It just be like that sometimes, you know? What's up, girl? What's up, everybody? Okay. Let me go ahead and add you, Meron. Let's see. It says waiting. Hey.
Hello.
Can you
How
hear
are
my
you?
phone?
It is so close to my face right now. Let me back this
Right?
up
I
a
was
little
like,
bit.
let me back mine up too. now
Okay, I
that
think that's good.
yeah.
How are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
I
I had
am
to
good.
have the vibes in the back for us.
I love it.
You know,
Woo.
one of my favorite.
Berna.
No, I have Wale, my good brother,
Why did I
my
think that was
poet.
Burna Boy?
Cause they're both Nigerian. I don't know. I'm not too sure. What's up, everybody? Welcome. Hello. First official week of Black Women Wednesdays, and I'm like super excited to start it with you. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling super honored that I'm on the first one. So
Hey,
thank you
it's
for that.
always it's always best to be first. I feel like you get it out the way, and then you come back and you can just knock it out the park whenever, you know.
Yes.
Um, Salam said, "Yer." So, yes, we love it. Black Women Wednesdays. So a little bit about why I'm starting this segment for those. Obviously, me and you have talked about it, so you
Mhm.
know. But for everybody else who's joining, I just noticed like at every different part of my life, there was a different Black woman that uplifted me in some way, shape, or form. You know,
Mhm.
if I didn't know the answer to something, I would look to, somebody that looked like me that could help me, right? And luckily for me, there was plenty of Black women around me, so I had great examples growing up. You know,
Yes.
and I also in turn became a role model because I was the oldest in my family. Um, and like one of the older kids in the community, you know what I mean? So it was it was kind of like this big burden that I carried, but then I would always anytime I felt like I couldn't really succeed or I was stuck, there would, like I said, like somebody else would come along and I would learn something. And you know, I was a big fan of Oprah, so I would like watch Oprah as a child and I'd be like, oh, I can't wait to be like that when I get older. I was like, I just want to
Makes sense.
be this like confident, um independent, like just like every Black woman I knew was just so graceful and so beautiful and carried the weight of the world. um
Oof.
like, you know what I mean, like just
Yes.
carried it and was still loved. And even in their darkest times when they cussing you out from love because they
With
want you to do
love.
better, you know. It's like we just
It's
always
magic.
want, yeah, like we just want more. We want more from everybody. We want to really just, you know what I mean? Like we want the best. We want to pull it all out of you, and that's
Yeah.
the nurturing part of us. And so um how we connected, and for anyone who hasn't seen the episode, um Meron is one of those people that like sometimes I don't know if I posted it or you posted it, because like that's how like in sync
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are. I'm like, oh girl, I was just thinking about that, and I was just like, yes. And
Yeah.
so I asked you to come on the podcast, and you were so gracious and saying yes. And I was like, yeah,
So
like
honored that you would even ask.
hey, I don't know why everyone, like, I like to talk to people next to me that are doing it at the same time, because I get just as motivated and inspired by running the race with you than the people who are already at where I want to be, right? Like, I love lateral growth. I think that you can grow with the people next to you. You don't have to like leave people behind. Like, as long as you all motivate and push each other,
Yeah,
then you know what I mean? That's a beautiful relationship. So,
I love that. Yes,
you know,
yes.
you know how I am, girl. So I had to like, I was like, yes, like I love everything that she's doing, and you know, me just being nosy, I said, you know what, I'm about to just let's have a conversation.
Get all up in her
Um,
business. No, just
all
kidding.
yeah, for real. I said, so what else you doing? Because I'm like looking at you like this is somebody who really, to me, I'm like she really went after something in her life, and not everyone can say they do that, right?
So true.
So all right. So those of you who didn't watch last week's episode that dropped with Meron, if you saw kind of the clips that I you know, put up this week, you can just see how brilliant she is. But if you can just for a
Please stop.
second reintroduce yourself to the people in the back who might not have already known who you were.
Okay.
Fable, she said, I love the shirt. Girl, you already know I had to come
Yeah,
with it
me too.
correct. I had to come with it correct for Black Women Wednesdays, you know?
I just came in all black for Black Women Wednesday.
Hey,
But
it's okay. We already in sync. I didn't even tell you I was gonna wear black today.
I just felt it. But a little bit about me, I guess. So I grew up in good old Colorado. And first generation, the oldest. Um, and basically, I mean, I don't know, I worked in like social work and a lot of settings like that. And
Mhm.
then I moved to DC um, in like 2019, and then now I work in a completely different field. I work in tech, and outside of that, I am in a business mentorship, and I build assets online. So basically, just doing a lot to be able to do everything that I want to do and not have to like wait on somebody else
Mm.
to get it
Mm.
done. So
You better go. You better go ahead and speak on that. If that's not the Black woman mantra, like you know what, I can do it myself.
okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not waiting around. I'm gonna get it how I live it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think Rahel really puts that best to me all the time. I think about her like when I think of like women who do that. She's like, look, I got expensive taste, but I'm gonna work hard to pay for that myself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
I sorry.
go
I've
ahead.
had I didn't want to interrupt, but yeah, I had a lot of if you're talking about Rahel, the one that your cousin obviously, right? Or the one that
Almost
went to Pueblo?
highlight. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, she yay, team glasses.
He said, "Team glasses, you already know we nerds up here." Like,
Yes. Mine are anyway. I was gonna say something about my glasses, but yeah, I've had a couple conversations with Rahel too. Not too many, but a couple, and I was like, I like the way she thinks. So
yeah,
I see it.
it's just it's beautiful, and I feel like every Black woman that I meet like teaches me something different. You know,
Mhm.
like touches a different part of my personality. You know what I mean, in some way,
Yes.
and like I think sometimes for me and you, we definitely I feel like we nerd out on books and like you know like
Yes.
on
As you can see.
on yes, I was like mine's is back there, but
Yeah.
I was like let me try to change the scenery this week, you know, from one couch to the next. But basically like
Right.
it's just kind of this idea that we really work on our self development, on our self growth. Like we're always trying to figure out ways to better understand who we are, our identities, and how we show up in the world, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, like constantly looking for a path forward, right? Like something that stuck out in the episode when we were talking about it is that we both moved, right? Like we picked up our lives and moved somewhere, and we kind of did that based off faith. Like we were just like,
100%.
I don't know what's out there on the other side, but I'm gonna be brave enough to go and chase after that. And I thought that was beautiful in our journeys. And I was like looking for what was the common thing, you know what I mean? I was like, what is it in us that kind of pushes us to be that? And when I thought about having this conversation, I was kind of thinking like, we're still like carrying those skill sets and that bravery and that courage, even though we don't know what the next chapter is going to hold for us. So I was kind of thinking like, where has your head been recently with everything that's going on back home, and how it's just kind of affected you in the path that you were already going on, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
when we last talked, we both had very clear trajectories. Like we had a plan that we were working on, and then
Yeah.
here comes life again throwing us another curveball. So how have you kind of handled like not falling off course?
Um, well, I think to be honest, in the beginning I did fall off course. Um, like when everything like first was happening, obviously that's um it's not something to just be able to be like, well, life goes on, you know, like it threw me off guard in a lot of different ways. I feel like um for especially since I live by myself in DC,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't around family or anything, so um I don't think I processed or anything the in a healthy way or the right way or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I feel well what I've learned is sometimes, well, all the time something's gonna happen. Like all the time in life, things are gonna happen. Um,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's gonna be more personal and hit close to home, and sometimes it's gonna be in your community, and sometimes it's like there's always gonna be something that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I had to do was kind of understand how to move forward. Um, and like how to move forward without um I don't know how to put it in the
No,
right
I know what
words,
you're
but it's
saying. It's
like
like
how
you
to
have
keep
to,
going.
yeah, like you have to, it's kind of what I've thought about it as is readjusting my balance, right?
Mhm.
Like I feel like every season that we go into, um, like we're trying to be here. We're trying to be at an equilibrium, right? Like as Black women, we're oppressed on so many different levels that I feel like on a daily basis, right?
Mhm.
We're trying to find our equilibrium so that we're not like so stuck in one area of pain and hurt that we can't like move on, because
Yeah.
unfortunately we live in a world where we have bills to pay. Right? Like we live in a capitalist society,
Yeah.
and in order for us to continue to live and to live like not just survive, right? Like because
Right.
surviving is one thing, but to actually live and to thrive and move forward is like we have to still work and function and show up and not be distraught, because I mean me and you talk about this, right? Like there's going to be an aftermath, right? Like we are going to have to be prepared to care for, right? And to maybe sponsor refugees or continue to donate consistently until we can get them to a place where they are safe, right? Like all of them are safe and living. But unfortunately, we live in a capitalist society and we need money in order to do that. So
Right.
like while we're still grieving and figuring this out, we still have to go to work every day and we still have to make a living, not because we want to go to work and we want to exist in that way. Like it would be nice if we could just like sit and process this, right? um but because like that's our ultimate reality at the end of the
Right.
day. Like there's still going to be like people counting on us, and I think that's the one thing that is consistent in every community of Black women, right? Like it doesn't matter what your other ethnic identities are, like we're always carrying that burden of how to take care of people and what that fully encompasses. It's not just one thing. It's like, okay, they're going to need a house, they're going to need clothes, they're going to need food, they're going to need all of these things. And like,
They're
if I
gonna
can't
need
provide that,
empowerment. They're gonna need like even like the emotional support, and you have to
oh,
kind of
yeah.
like bring that spirit or that light. But keep going. Yeah.
No, yeah, you're exactly right. Like it's all encompassing, right? Like health is so much. And I thought about in terms of what it means to be like active, right? Like what it looks like to have, you know, to be a part of like a social activism movement. I'm like, I can't
Hmm.
even use my words today, but
Yeah.
it's this idea, right, that like while we are the ones actually suffering, while we're the ones that are victims, we still have to show up and advocate for them and still care for ourselves and our families here, right? Like we're like not only back home, but like here too. Like
Yeah.
I just had a conversation today, and somebody was talking to me about what's going on in the states, and I was like, oh, I didn't forgot. Like I forgot where
Yeah.
I live. Like I was like, wow, like I don't know. My mind is constantly on this, and
Yeah.
because I've been lucky enough to have a family that is surrounding me in this time and like giving me the space to grieve, but I know not everybody has that. So like for you having to still show up at work and kind of be like that powerhouse that Black women are expected to be, like what has that been like for you? You know, like um, how has that kind of rerouted like what you want to do?
Yeah. Okay. No, that you just said a lot. Just threw a lot of
Sorry.
gems.
Yeah, I'm so
Ruta is
sorry.
always dropping bars. But I think, yeah, so okay, so I fell off in the beginning, right? But I had a very, very crucial conversation or a real talk with somebody that I admire and respect a lot, and she was just kind of like got my head right, and she was like, okay, well, like you're doing a couple other things, and you also have
Hmm.
a job. I I live in the DMV by myself. I can't ask my parents to just kind of like give me money or like I really have to maintain that independence.
Hmm.
Um, and so for me, I'm super, super emotional. Like things like if somebody's sad, like I can feel it, So
Ooh,
I just kind
girl.
of had
Yes.
to empath.
Yeah.
So she was just kind of like, like you got to be smarter about what you're mentally feeding yourself throughout the day. Like if you have to perform at work, you got to be smart about that. Like I can't like invest my mental space like during the times that I need to perform or need to be focused on
Hmm.
things that I know will like bother me or rile me up or anything like that because at the end of the day like I just can't do that.
Yeah.
Um, so she was just more like, okay, like understand where you are and like what responsibilities you have right now and make the most out of that. So there's a quote that's like, do what you can with what you have. And I
Mm.
love, love, love
Okay.
that quote because there's a lot of different people who have different freedoms or different capacities, right? Like my dad
Yeah,
owns a business.
absolutely.
So my dad owning a business can't be like, you know what, life is happening right now. Like, forget the business. I'm going to put everything here because he can't. Like, that's not his
Yeah.
place. For me, I live somewhere else. I live by myself. And I don't know if anybody else could identify with this, but they probably can. But like when you just get like really, really overwhelmed or just life is just going in on you right now,
Mm. Oh yeah.
if you're by yourself, it feels like 10 times harder. So it's kind of
Oh
like
yeah.
if you know that you have to show up in places and you have to be fully present and you have to give, um, we just had to move a little different or move smarter. Um,
Yeah.
so, so one thing actually that I've been doing, that the idea did not come from me, but it came from somebody else,
Hmm.
um, is along with what I do outside of my job, right? Like I'm big on like self-care and like um, different things like that. So she was just like, you could use that to donate, or you could use the proceeds from that to give back, because
Yeah. That's beautiful.
like it's not neglecting the path that you're on, but I think more power comes when you're on your path and you understand
Mm.
how to give more. Yeah, God does have a plan.
He sure does.
Have because everybody, has a different path, right? And we all
Yeah,
are
exactly.
gonna show up in different ways, and we're gonna be there in different ways and contribute different things. So
Yeah.
looking at somebody else, we could feel like, wow, like I want to do what they do, but if that's not your place, like
Yeah.
you are where you are for a reason. Like do what you can with what you have, and like just really
Amen.
like step into that purpose and yeah. So that's,
Yes.
I don't know if that answers the question, but that's
No, it
basically
does.
what.
No, and I'll highlight that for everyone who's kind of joining in. So we're talking about like what we understand as Black women is that we don't have the luxury. We're not given the space to just grieve, right? We're not given the space to be victims, because at the same time that we're being victimized in one way, like we have to show up in other places and we still have to provide, like our responsibilities don't just disappear because we're going through something, and the world
Hmm.
is very unforgiving to Black women, like it's very unforgiving to Black women. So we have to really show up for each other, right, in these ways. And I know for you, when you're talking about like combining these two paths, right, it's like I don't want to just be successful to be successful, right? Like I want to be successful so that I am able to do the things that I care about. And the
Right.
things that I care about is different for everyone. Like, for me, I'm really, really big on family, right? I really want to make sure that, I break as many generational curses as I can, that
Right.
I leave wealth, for my family, something that they can build off of. And, you got to think about those things, and those things can't just disappear when we're going through really tough times. Like, we have to really find a way to continue. So,
Right.
that's kind of what you're talking about, and having to combine the work that you're doing and finding a way to use the work that you're doing to still support and love on the people that you care about. And I think that that's also a testament, right, to being Black women, because we have to be creative. Like,
Yes.
we don't ever have enough resources, so we have to be like super creative and think about how do we do this one thing 2 or 3 or 4 different ways, because it's not like we're going to get more time. So we got to like hustle harder. And something that my dear Kappa brothers at San Jose State would teach me all the time was like, you got to work smarter, not harder, you know
Right.
and I think that what you do is kind of the definition of that, right? It's like, okay, I know I gotta take care of myself. And as hard as this is right now, I have to do it, because in the long term, that's gonna put me in a better situation to support who I need to support. And it's not something that everybody can understand, right? Because a lot of us are like emotionally raw right now. A lot of us are
Yeah.
like just very reactive. Which is fine, right? Everybody's going to deal with it differently. Some of us like deal with tragedy by like just doing the here and now and like being super present and like, acting, and they're kind of more of the what's the word? There's like all these different ways to be socially active, and I feel like they're the disruptors, right? They're the people that get attention. They're the people that bring us all
Hmm.
to awareness and are really good at pushing out messages. And they're the people you see kind of in the front lines. But there's also a whole host of people in the background, right, that are doing amazing work that never gets like any type of recognition. And what I've noticed from being in the background also, like you
Hmm.
guys see me up here, but I'm also very much in the background. um
Very
you
much
know
in the background. I don't think a lot of people know that, but I just want to point that out. Ruta is amazing, and I just, the world is gonna see it one day. But continue, just doing a
go,
lot.
you better go ahead and hang me up, because like yes, no, and this is also, my favorite part about being in conversation with you is like you kind of just you recognize what I'm trying to do, and you know how hard it is. So you're like, anytime you're like, yes, girl, I know that was such a
Yes.
hard decision for you to make. And I'm like, yes, it was. I'm so glad somebody else understands my pain.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm noticing everyone in the background, right? I'm noticing so many of my brilliant sisters in the background, doing like the everyday ins and out, like, oh my God, like the stuff that we accomplish is insane, right? And almost every time, like, don't get me wrong, the fellas are definitely in there and they're definitely putting in work, but the majority of the time it's
Understood.
like I see women I see women going in hard.
Yeah.
So I want to like be intentional about like, yo, all of us are going to show up in this time in different ways, but everybody's contribution is equally important. My sis pieced the ticket out. She said she sure is, girl. I'm coming for you too, girl. Let me see. There was a couple of questions. Let me see.
Well, I just want to say this as a side note.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, this is cute. I love you,
Aw.
Meron. How are you? How are you able to be so great, girl? I be asking the same thing, but go ahead, say what you're
Stop.
saying, and then.
No, I was gonna say the thing about Black women, right? So I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of us are expected to be so many things, but one thing that I'm really excited about our generation is a lot of us are choosing to be a source and to be
Mm.
somebody that provides opportunities too. Um,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
so, when you're somebody who wants to take that role on, I feel like you kind of have to make different decisions when it comes to the day to day. And because it's
Oh
more like
yeah.
a long term vision, sometimes you miss out on the everyday or the little things. But I think like in 10 years or in 15 years or something, it's going to be so different. And where our communities
Yep.
are just going to be so much stronger and better prepared for anything because there's like more of us. So,
Mhm. No, for real.
yeah.
You be like touching. I was like, girl, yes. Like I have been feeling that like so much. Like I always feel like I never have enough time.
Yeah.
Like I legitimately am like, gosh, like I feel like I never have enough time. Like there's so many people that I want to love on and
Yeah.
show up for, and so many places I want to be, and it's just like, damn, like I would need 3 or 4 or 5 of me to like
Oh my
do
God.
all of that,
Yeah. I
I'll be
know.
like, oh, like, bro, every time people be like, I have to check myself. I'm like, are you tired, or you just exhausted? Like, what,
Oh my God. Do
like,
I
what
need to
is it
sleep today
today?
or can I just sleep? Yeah.
Somewhere else, like, okay, I'm gonna catch up, and you be like, I'm gonna catch up on sleep on the weekend. That never happens. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't get it that day, don't think you coming back to it. Like,
Oh my gosh.
it's not
Yeah.
happening. It is not happening. Some of my beautiful friends in here, if they talk to me offline, they're like, why are you still up? I said, I don't know. Like,
Literally.
I want to
Literally.
go to sleep too. It would be nice. I definitely have tried. I'm trying to be better for myself, but something you said earlier too really stuck out to me, right? Is like this idea of kind of being an empath, right? And how we cope. I think that yes, like the empath thing hits like all the way right here. Um
You're an empath
it
if you said that. But yeah, go ahead.
it's like I legit like I deal with triggers every day. Like every day I'm getting triggered by something that I see. The word refugee at this point is a trigger for me because like that
Mm.
is my identity, and I get emotional talking about it, so I'm going to try to keep myself together, but it's like refugee is the one identity that I feel like I've always hated that I had. Like
Mm.
I always hated it because refugee was the thing that I associated with my brokenness. Like for a long time I was like, if I was just not a refugee, right? Like if we didn't have to flee, like I would have been able to grow up in my own country. I wouldn't have had to be here, right? So like there was that angry phase of resentment, and then it was like there was a point where I was kind of like, I'm actually proud of being a refugee because that means my parents survived, right? Like they're
Yeah.
survivors. Like I come from a strong lineage. Like it takes a whole lot of courage to be able to get up and move, right? It takes a
Oh my
whole lot
gosh.
of courage
Yeah.
to start over, to start, like just starting over. And like I've been thinking about that. Like my parents started over. They did it. Like they got, you know what I mean? Like they got to
Yeah.
the place where they were finally like prospering and just enjoying life, and just like on that upward swing of being able to now like really fully give back in the way that they want to.
Yeah.
And I was just like, bro, that's starting over stuff. Like, like, you know what I mean? I was just like,
Yeah.
man, like it took me 28 years to get it right the first time. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, damn, like, how long is it gonna take? And then I realized that, like, we're like, even though we're experiencing the war from here, we're the first generation that's like, actually maybe not the first generation, but we're probably like the generation now that has had enough time to actually like get over some of that trauma and like progress, right? I feel like we're the first generation that got to move out of survivor mode and we're actually thriving, right? Like
Yeah.
there's more of us out there in the field doing amazing work, and I feel like that's something that we should celebrate more. And even though we're going through a hard time, I feel like every black woman that I've seen, talked to during all of this is doing two or three or four different things, right? Like we're not,
Yeah.
we can't afford to just do one thing. And it's amazing how you're still showing up and being able to like be present and do all the things that you're doing while managing your emotions of it. And it's like, can you talk a little bit about what your self-care routine has been through all of this? Like how has, because you could tell I'm all over the place with this, so like how has it been for you?
That's a great question. So, um, like I said, I'm super, super, super uh, emotional, just
Yes.
like super sensitive. One thing I guess that helped is being, um, okay, so it's gonna sound really, I feel like it's gonna sound bad,
Mhm.
but this is what I've been doing. So,
Ooh.
um, obviously, what these are the things that I prioritize is checking up on people,
Mhm.
that I'm able to. So obviously, like people here,
Yeah.
um, and like making sure, they're okay, providing whatever comfort I can provide, or I'm just checking up on them, whether it's phone calls, text, or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, One thing that I have been avoiding is watching every single thing because
Speak on
that
it.
drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not somebody that could just watch every single thing and be okay. Like I
Yeah.
will just drown in that. And like I said, I can't do that right now.
Yeah.
Um, and one thing that I've been kind of more conscious about is because I know it's obviously our parents or people who um literally dealt or directly were affected by the last one or anything like that,
Mhm.
um, there, I just wanted to kind of be that balance, I
Yeah.
guess, or just kind of make up for whatever I can.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that's one thing that I've been, I guess, avoiding is just watching every single thing. But I haven't been like that for years, actually, regardless of what happens. I
Mhm.
don't I can't do that. I just try to be super intentional about what I allow to come into my mind,
Yeah.
and to come into my heart because I know the kind of person that I want to be and the kind of life that I want to have. And so I think that um, keeping up with basics and keeping up with facts is
Yeah.
smart, but like following every single thing, um, I personally have just not been doing that.
Oh
Another
yeah.
thing is
It's draining.
doing what I can to fill my own cup. I'm a big believer that
Speak on that.
if your cup is empty, like you can't. So especially for the people that are, fighting super, super hard, um,
Yeah.
I think that sometimes it can take away from us, like if we don't like pour back into ourselves. So whether it's like just taking time for yourself, or whether it's like, you know, I think a lot of it has to do with being present and being aware of where you are. We know where we want to
Mm.
be. We know,
Yeah.
um, like where our mind is, but also understand where we are and just take advantage of that
Yeah.
because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But I think there's a lot of beauty and peace in today,
Yes.
in where we are, especially for people that are watching this. Like, you're probably way better off than a lot of other people. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if that answers the full question, but just kind of being present and doing what
Mhm.
I can today to give back to myself, and then checking up on loved ones, um, and then just doing some, oh, faith. That's another thing that I have been super, super big on because I think there's a lot of things that we want to control that are honestly outside of our control.
Oh yeah.
Um, and just like there's like a kind of peace that comes when we know that when we just let go of that and we really just give it to the person that has it in their hands in the first place.
Amen.
Um, so self care is just
Amen.
kind of a little bit of everything. Um, and then doing something for myself to make myself kind of like smile, I guess. Um,
Yeah, smiling
yeah,
is hard during this time.
it is
Like
hard.
it is like it man, like you know what I was thinking? So I was well, we were talking about a lot of shit yesterday, but like today,
Yeah,
all new thoughts, all new thoughts.
yeah,
I like as I was getting ready to get on live, I was like, wow, like today, I feel like the majority of the work that I had to do today was like fight off anxiety and depression. Like just like I could actively feel myself like fighting it. And it was like that takes up half my energy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And in order for me to like still be present and do this with you, I have to like I become a recluse, honestly.
yeah,
Like when I go through these types of times, like I really become a recluse because I am an empath and I do feel deeply and I am like you, right? Like everything starts to trigger me. Like when people send me
yeah,
um like, oh, read this and do that, I'm like I can't. Like I physically cannot take in any more energy because I already have to fight off my own anxiety and my own worst thoughts about what's going on and lean into my faith. So like I have to set my own routine just to get through the day,
yeah,
just to not like fall apart all the time and like stay present in this and then stay present in doing the actual work that we're doing to like raise awareness to to get our family safe, right? So it's like all of that is so exhausting. So I'm like, here goes half my energy, right?
yeah,
And then here's the other half is like stay focused. Okay, like get this one thing done, do this for yourself. And it's like I have like that in it, you know what I'm saying? Like the fact that like that's how our brains operate. And when you're struggling with it, I completely understand what you're talking about, like not being able to be fully like immersed in that part of it because you know yourself enough to know that like you will fall apart, and if you fall apart, then you can't be useful to anybody. Like you can't be useful to yourself. So
yeah.
it's a testament to why I keep saying like self-care is important, self-love is important. Like it's okay to be honest with yourself and it's like, hey, I cannot do this, I cannot show up in this way, it's not good for me, like
And yeah,
it's it's not at all. um
one,
Let me
I
see.
just want to add one thing to that
Go,
is
yeah.
that there are people who can operate like that. They can be like, this is what I'm doing, and like it's almost like machines. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that if it's really good to know who we are, because
Yeah.
then we know how to like, get the best out of ourselves and get the most out of ourselves. If we're not that person, which I'm not and you're not, then
Mm-hmm.
trying to operate like we're a machine is like super counterproductive. And you're gonna
Very.
be like out for way longer than if you would have just took that one day or like that half day or something. So
Yeah, and I'm trying to tell all my sisters in the cause, like take a day, take a breath,
yeah,
like do something for yourself that is just purely for you, right? Like I've had to break this habit. My girl, bro, I be saying your username all types of wrong. I read it Madi, but like I'm just gonna assume that's right. I'm gonna just assume that right. But sis, please correct me if I said that wrong. She said, "Girl, I feel you. We need to break up that energy and conserve ourselves."
it's true.
Amen. I'll be trying to do that
Can't
every
pour
day.
from an empty cup.
I cannot, and I have had to be really honest with myself. Like I'm not running on full right now. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Oh, okay, yes, I got her name right. Woo, okay. Um, but yes, like I legit like I'm running on half full. Like these days, I'm running on half full, and because I know myself, like I'm like I
I'm I'm honest with myself. I'm very honest with my ugly, where I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, you know that you are not right now. And if you go and you try to be in this energy or that energy, you gonna bring all your negativity to it. So instead of doing that, stay your black butt at home. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And like do what you need to do to take care of yourself. And
Yeah.
I think that my family has kind of gotten used to me at this point where like I'll be downstairs like all day and it's like nobody bothers me. Like
Mm.
they know if I want to be bothered, I will come upstairs. You know what I mean? Or like they'll just ask me their question or they'll just
Yeah.
quietly sit here like next to me and do what they got to do. Or if they
Aw.
feel like they really need to bother me, then they're like, "What are you doing?" "Nothing." "Okay, let's do this." And like, you know what I mean? So you got like I've finally gotten to a place where I'm comfortable with just who I am, where I'm at, and I'm honest with it. Like
Yeah.
it is what
I
it
can feel
is,
it.
like I can't change it for better or worse right now.
Yeah.
Um oh, I totally ignored this question. So sorry, Sanai. So sorry. Um what defines
Ooh,
a successful black woman? I don't even know if he's in here, but he'll watch it later.
great question.
Um I'm gonna let you answer that first. Go ahead, sister girl.
um, a successful black woman, I think, is somebody who is able to live her authentic self
Mm,
24/7. I think
you
that is
better go ahead.
the most success that you can get when you are living aligned to your values. When you know what your
Mhm.
values are, you're living in alignment to them. You're able to sleep at night because you know that, like, when you get to that level of like, if I die today, like I'm good.
Oof.
That
Yes.
is a successful black woman and one that could
Yes.
help others get there too. Like that's goals.
You know, you better go ahead because that's what I'm trying to do. If y'all didn't
Yes.
catch my whole drift, I'm like, yes. That's why I said like you be understanding different parts of like my heart, like my intention,
Yeah.
and like how I want to show up. And I'm like, how she be doing that? Like, I'm like really
We're the
like,
same. I'm in your
yes.
head.
I'm like, oh my god, like how does she be doing? Like I really be confused. Like, and man, okay, I don't know how to follow up that answer. Successful black women, like, whew,
Just say
um,
yourself.
go ahead, go ahead. She got all the answers today. She got all the answers. Yes, she said, "I love this woman." Me too, sis. Like, that's why I had to have her on. Man, I think you know what a successful black woman is to me, like basically everything you said, right? Piggybacking off of that, how you know you're a successful black woman, right? So I'm going to answer it differently.
Mhm.
How you know that you are is when you see another black woman successful and it doesn't make you
Bother
jealous.
you. Ah,
You know? Like you
yes,
see another black woman winning
yes.
and you are just like, even if you don't like her, okay? Let's be real.
Yeah,
We could, no one's being messy, but I'm saying there are, for me, I don't have to like you, right? Like I don't have to like you at all. If you were a black woman, I want to see you win, period.
yeah,
Like because I feel like the world, I'm gonna keep saying this till it changes, right? That's the reason why I'm wearing this shirt. The world does a fantastic job of trying to bury black women. Like, so if you and me don't vibe and our personalities don't vibe for whatever reason, if like if for some reason I trigger something ugly in you and you trigger something ugly in me, and for some reason me and you can't be friends, that don't matter to me, right? Because I know the world has probably put you through some shit and I can just excuse that, right? I can still see your humanity and I still think that you're lovely and beautiful and you're resilient and you are showing up and doing everything that you can, right? So
hmm,
I'm not ever gonna hate on a black woman winning. Period. I don't care how she get. I don't care. I don't care how you get there. Like I don't like as long as you're not hurting somebody else, and
right.
that's my clear boundary. As long as you are not hurting somebody else, I'm gonna cheer for you. I might not talk to you and be your best friend and hold your hand and like we're not gonna do this little chit chat together, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna still cheer for you and I'm gonna still want to see you win. Period. At the end of the day,
Were you always
like
like that?
nah,
Yeah, I was gonna say I was not like that before. I used to be like,
Hell no, I
hating
used to
on
be petty.
people.
I used to
Yeah.
be petty. Okay, I used to be petty with a capital P. Okay, like
So what changed it?
man, therapy. Like, if I'm being all the way honest, therapy, and I think it was this superpower that I keep saying is like me being an empath. Like I resisted it for a really long time.
Yeah.
I think the world actually tried to snuff it out of me, if I'm being all the way honest. Because the way that the world tries to harden us, right,
Hmm.
like is so irritating. Like it's like I just want to be soft. Like
Yeah.
why is that a bad thing? Niggas really, really, you soft. What's wrong with being
Yeah, it's a
soft?
superpower.
Yeah, like what's wrong with being soft? Like caring about you is soft? Okay, fine. Like you know what I mean? Like
I love you even more. Yeah.
you feel me? Like whatever. You hate me, I love it. I love you.
Yeah,
Period. Like whatever. You going through something. That ain't a reflection of me. That's a reflection of your own reality, right?
literally.
So when I kind of like was able to finally just like let myself be who I really am, like that's how I like to operate. People are like, why do you always just like you don't ever be saying shit back? And I was like, because I already tried it that way. It didn't
Yeah.
work. Like
Yeah.
it didn't work. Being that nasty, mean person all the time, being petty with a capital P, it did not work for
It's
me.
heavy.
It's so heavy, and I feel everything. So it's like I don't like that.
You're
Like,
mean and then later you feel bad like,
yeah,
dang, why
I'm
did I
like,
say that?
damn, bro.
I
Like,
don't even know the day that they had and I just added to it. Oh my God. We're
yes,
the
it's
same.
like I'm like, bro, it's to the point now where I be driving, somebody cut me off, and I be wanting to cuss them, and I be like, sorry, God. Like, I'll just be like, you know what? It's okay. They're having a bad day, and like,
Say
it's
pray
my
for them
natural.
too.
Yeah, and it's like I let myself feel mad for a second, but it's just not worth it for me. Like
Yeah.
holding on to anger is more detrimental to my health.
Yeah.
Like, and if you like, you know what, however people deal with it, that's their, like, do it that way. But I'm just
Oh
saying, for
yeah.
me, it doesn't work. It doesn't
Yeah.
work at all. Like, my health was the worst when I used to be
Oh my
petty
God.
in the streets. So, you know what I mean? Like, it was bad. Like, it was
Yeah.
bad. Now that I'm like, I rid myself of all of that, like, I've been able to keep my weight off this entire year. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you feel me? Like, that's a big ass accomplishment.
It is.
Um, like, my PCOS symptoms have been really manageable. Like, this is the first year where I feel like I'm slightly in control of my own health, which is
That's
like a
huge.
feat in, yeah, like, bro, that's a 5-year journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And most people don't get there that quickly. Most people, when I'm in the chat rooms or looking up, or in that sphere of people, there's women who have PCOS for 20 years and didn't know it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And didn't take care of it and didn't have their symptoms, and didn't, and the only reason I knew to fight for my health was because of another Black woman. So, like, again, we show up
We're just the
in
best.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just so
Literally.
beautiful. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep doing this. Fable said, how do the rest of us stop being petty with the capital P? Girl,
Uh,
it's
well,
let me let me okay. I had answered a little bit for me, therapy and stuff. What was it for you, Meta? Maybe you can enlighten us.
I honestly, the real honest answer for me is obviously personal development because I'm in a mentorship, so that's something huge. But when I
Mhm.
started working on myself and honestly working on my own goals, um,
Mhm.
like when the focus started being on me winning, like then I
Mm.
could then I could like respect other people and um like see other people winning and be like, oh, they did that because I'm doing the work too. So me doing the
Mhm.
work, knowing that I'm gonna get what's mine, I
Yeah.
don't feel no type of way towards other people anymore because it's like they're winning. Well, like they are killing it because I already know for me to get where I am, how much work I had to do. So, I guess
Oh
the
yeah.
short answer is working on myself helped me.
Yeah.
Um, so
You basically said I'm running my own race. Like,
Yeah.
I think when you realize that your path um is yours and yours alone, right? Like you feel differently about it because you
Yeah.
take, I guess what that comes down to, what that boils down to, Fabu, is self-awareness is one part of it, and then the other part of it is self-accountability. Um, you know,
Accountability.
yes, like, and I say heavy on the self part, heavy on the
Yeah.
self accountability part, because I've been having this conversation a lot. Me and you even talked about this yesterday, that I have this capacity to just go in deep, right? Like I just, you ask me a question and I'll literally rack my brain, and then I'm like, you know what? Let me just feel what it feels like and speak from
Mm.
that place instead. And the only way I can do that is if I'm self aware, if I'm willing to hold up the mirror and really look at myself. And the way that I was able to do that was that I learned this idea of projection. So if you understand projection, yes, you already know because you probably read the same books I read, and in my psych classes. So what you learn about projection in psychology is just this idea that we put onto others how we feel about ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody will ask me, this is the easiest way I explain it to people. Your girl will come to you and she got into a fight with her dude or her partner, whatever, right? And she gonna ask you for advice, and you gonna be like, your advice is gonna come from either a place where you've experienced it, so you're giving her advice of how you dealt with it,
Mm-hmm.
or you're giving her advice based off of how you've seen other people deal with it. But what we're not doing is thinking about who that person is and what advice actually works for them, instead of projecting what our thoughts are onto them.
Yeah.
So I usually like I've gotten to a point where my friends are pretty comfortable telling me when I'm wrong. You know what I mean? And that takes like me also being able to take the criticism. So when you start doing this work, right, and it's obviously layered, because first you got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror, right? You know what I mean? Yes.
It's
And
definitely
so
layered.
it's layered and it takes a bunch of time.
And it goes shoop, shoop, and then you go back, and then you go
You
up
see,
and down, and then
all the Rahel said sure. Like yes, Rahel knows because we've had to have some beautiful heart to hearts, and Rahel's one of those people who will tell me about myself, right? In a loving way, right? And it's like, okay, cool, because sometimes we're not seeing it, and that's why you have that
most
other
of the
layer of
time.
friends,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it's like I'm, man, like that was kind of a big answer, but essentially, like when you understand this concept that where um you're usually projecting your own reality onto others, you start to look at yourself a little differently, because you're like, did that come from a place of love, or did that come from a trauma response? Like what what am I actually communicating to people? And then you get a little bit more intentional about it, and then you just take that accountability, and you're like, what I do is I look at it, I take some time to sit with the behavior, or with the response or the situation, however it manifests itself, and I'm like, do I like that about myself? Like, did I like how I handled that? Like, do I like how I was perceived? Like, is that honest and true to what my heart is, like my heart posture, and stuff like that? And then I'm like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, I don't need that, and I don't want that, and I am going to try my best to let go of that and not continue to bring that into my life. And that's where I give like my friends and family the permission to check me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'm okay being checked on that, because I know that's something I'm working on.
I love it.
But yes,
One
Rahel's,
thing
she said respectfully.
One thing I just want to add is one thing that helped me stop being so petty is, and judgmental.
Mm,
I'm not perfect. I'm still working on it every day. But one thing that really helped is I found a lot of times when I judged other people, I was in a similar situation or worse
mm,
um, at another point in my life after that. So now I don't care who, what, when. I'm just like, okay, like I'm not asking unnecessary questions. I'm not thinking unnecessary thoughts. I just say my prayers and bless people and move on because I've asked a lot of questions and God is like, oh, you want to ask questions? Answer them. So
Ooh,
now I'm like, whoop.
you better go ahead. You better go ahead. I'm laughing because I just thought of a couple of times where he done sat my butt down and was like, "You
Yeah.
thought you was
Did
cute," you know what I mean? And I
you
was
forget
like,
you're human? Like, oh,
"Oh, I definitely did think I was cute. Go ahead,
yeah.
humble me right back down." No, for real, that's definitely big. And oh, we're good on time. Okay, so let's let this kind of be our ending to our beautiful conversation thus far. I like to leave on a positive note.
Yeah.
So, thinking about, so for those who have watched the episode, we ended the episode talking about, what would we want our legacy to be, um, our futures. Obviously, we've been thrown a couple of curveballs since that episode was recorded. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to check back in with you and see, like, where are you at with that? Has that shifted for you? Have you added to it? Like, has it changed in any way? And if not, like, um, just remind us what that legacy is that you wanted to leave.
Um, this is a great question, by the way. I loved it when you asked it then, and I love it now. Um, yeah, so as far as legacy, I guess, um, well, I just want to keep all the ones that I said in the episode. I don't remember all of them, but I know one of them I said is to just kind of enjoy where I'm at or just be grateful for where I'm at every day. I think
Mm,
I said have fun before, but I know for sure it's just to be grateful every day because life is always changing. And so I don't want to look back
amen.
and be like, dang, like those are the good old days. I know there's going to be good days that come still, but um, I I don't know. I think I read a quote. It said like the highest form of prayer is living in gratitude or something like that. And
Wow,
so
that's
yeah,
beautiful.
I love that quote. So I know that there's a lot going on all the time in the world,
Hmm.
but I think it's really powerful when we can kind of be grateful for where we are.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, it's not going to be easy in every situation, but that's one thing. Another
I
one
think
is
that's a
to
big goal too. So I
yeah,
commend you because I've been working on it and it's hard. So
it is
go ahead.
hard, but
Second thing.
okay, the second thing is to yeah, just be a source and just
Mm,
be somebody that's a provider. Whether it's opportunities, whether it's whatever, if I can connect you to other opportunities, just to be that person. I don't think there's enough of us in the world, and so
yeah.
I volunteer myself to take that to take that on.
Okay. I
So
love a volunteer. Like, I have to
yeah,
volunteer a lot of people things. So I love when somebody else just volunteers. I'm like, oh, child, yes, because
I
we
volunteer
definitely
myself.
do.
Yeah,
We definitely do. I love. I also love. That's why I also want to introduce all the different women and all the amazing things that you're doing because I get a lot of people reaching out to me for things which I like completely love, and half the time it's really just referring them to somebody else, right? Because it's
yeah,
like I can try to help you with this, but I know somebody who would be like 10 times better at
yeah,
this thing. And I feel like that's how I've always operated. And I don't know if that's just like ingrained in us as Black women, but everyone I know is like, oh, girl, I know so and so's kid does that,
yeah.
or like whatever. You just kind of have that
It's an amazing
internal
thing.
connect.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love it. It's beautiful. Like, yes, and it's going to continue to grow. That's why I'm doing
yeah,
this. That's why we're doing it, and I'm so happy that you got to be the first to make, jump this off, jump the season off, like, for real. Let me take a second to just love on you, because like I said, I like to lead conversations with positivity, light, and love. And
yes.
um for me, I was thinking, like, I think too much. I need to calm down on thinking, but like,
Me too.
it just be going. Um, I was thinking about season two, and how I recorded everything, and I don't think that it would have went as well if I didn't start with you. And yes, I know. I really thought about that, and it kind of just hit me hard because I've been editing other episodes, you know, but it really set the tone. Like, it really helped me set the tone because I had an idea of where I wanted to take the episode and how I wanted to open up for the season, right? And I wasn't sure that that would come across right. I was like I don't know if people are ready for this, or if people are going to be willing to like go on camera and you know, reciprocate this energy, because I give
Yeah.
out a lot of energy, and I'm trying to be good at tapering it.
No, you're good. Keep doing it.
You know, and you came in though. You came in and you were just like ready to go. I was like, yes, like this is like, yes, this is the energy I need, because like I said in the intro, I was like, I was nervous about coming back to record season 2 because I had done so much healing work and
Yeah.
transformation in myself, and you received it in such a beautiful way, and that just like gave me the courage to like continue, right? Like, and I was like, all right, at least one person gets it, you know what I mean? Like, at least one person gets it, so I can continue to do this. I can continue to show up authentically, and not be scared of how I was going to be received. And that was a big blessing. Like, I think that that is a beautiful like testament to your energy and your spirit and like your heart posture and your ability to connect with people and show up authentically as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've done your work. Like,
Still
you've
doing it.
done it.
Yeah.
Yes, and I just love it so much. So I wanted to make sure I took a second to appreciate you in that way, and appreciate you for being willing to come on IG Live with me. So
Yes.
yeah, I kind of want to leave it there. Do you have any last thoughts that you
I
want
have
to share with the people?
a lot of last thoughts. First of all, Hannah, what you're doing is amazing, and I'm gonna say this now before you become like bigger than Oprah,
Oh,
because
you make me nervous. Go ahead.
no, what you're doing is amazing, and I feel like right now it's gonna be super impactful, but even like later on down the road, I feel like the content that you're putting out has so much weight to it and so much goodness inside of it. So I'm so excited.
Mm.
Even the way you live your life and just like you're just purposefully living.
Ooh.
So I I just think you're so cool and what you're doing is so amazing. So,
Oh
you know,
man.
I just love it. I just love it all. You're doing amazing. You're a great person, human being. Um,
Wow.
and just like you're saying all these good things about me, but you can only say it about me if you have those qualities yourself. So,
Oh.
thank you for having me on the episode. I am so honored, and I hope that I did it justice. One thing that I
Come on,
just
girl. You
did
know
want
you
to
did.
mention, I know I did. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, go
But
ahead, girl.
I just did want to mention that, of course, with doing what we can with what we have, I am doing the skin consultations,
Oh yes.
and they
Speak
are
about it.
virtual, and 100% of the booking fees will be donated. So, if people did want to find different ways to maybe give back, I know a lot of people are
Hmm.
doing so much, and but I'm super big on self-care and stuff, so I would love to help people find a way to kind of give back to themselves while giving back um, out there. And just anyway, keep doing what you do, Rita.
Yes.
I am watching each
No,
episode
this is
and I am
beautiful.
sending those hearts.
Yes, thank you. And what she's talking about is really just like, to me, is the reason why I support Black women so hard, is that you're doing the work. You're doing the work that is needed, is necessary, that goes unrecognized often. Um, and I think that it's beautiful that not only would they be supporting another Black woman in building her own business up, but also like supporting a Black woman that is supporting you, right? So kind of like this cycle of love and just showing up for each other. You know what I
Cycle of
mean?
love.
Like, let's just,
Hmm.
yes, just show up for each other in every way that we can. So Thank you, Meron. This was amazing, beautiful. I hope that everyone gained something out of this conversation. And yeah, that wraps us for Black Women Wednesday. So we'll see you whenever. Come on, whenever you want. Like, let me know. My platform is your platform, sis. So just come on. Yeah.
You're just so cool. Like, keep being amazing. The world needs you. The world needs more people like you. So keep doing it. We love you. And I'm saying this on behalf of everyone. So
on everybody. You. Okay. You know, I accept and I receive, and the love is reciprocated. So with that, I'm going to say good night.